What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about why the trade deadline for the Chicago Bulls could be a massive time for us Bulls fans and for this Bulls team. Now, this is pretty self-explanatory, but I feel like there's a couple of more reasons that people probably won't mention when it comes to the trade deadline as to why it could be important. And I guess the key thing here is, what will the Chicago Bulls look like in terms of their record, their playing style, and just how confident they are as a team by that time? And will that determine what we do by the trade deadline? Well, we're going to have to discuss a little bit about it in this video. But before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and what moves do you think the Bulls will do by the trade deadline. I guess, is it moves that could benefit the team, let's say? Is it moves to get rid of certain people from the team? Whatever the case may be, feel free to let me know. Now, as I mentioned, it could go down in different directions, but I feel like the most obvious direction for the trade deadline is to kind of get rid of certain people on this team. Now, of course, these people, Zach LaVine, Nikola Vucevic, those two individuals are probably veterans in a group full of youngsters. And look, if this Bulls team is not going to be very good, I feel like it is just not the right place for either of them to be at this point in their career. Zach LaVine is entering prime years. Nikola Vucevic is entering a win-now situation. It has to be that for him. Otherwise, he's wasting his time, in my opinion, in the NBA. Regardless, both of those players, I think we need to make quick decisions on. Now, unfortunately, it looks like for both of those players, there don't seem to be many trade partners willing to come in and help out the Chicago Bulls. That is extremely unfortunate and something that we got to take on board. But by the trade deadline, you just don't know what's going to happen. Certain teams can get desperate and decide to pull the trigger on one of those players. And ultimately, you know, if Zach LaVine or Vucevic gets their trade value up, that could be another way that they end up getting the moves away from Chicago. And I also think it's a chance to double down. Double down on the youngsters. Double down on the youth, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm going to take a look at the Chicago Bulls roster, because you might be thinking, well, it's only Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic as our veteran guys. And I just don't think that's the case. Guys like Jevon Carter, for example, is another one we could be looking at. Torrey Craig is another one that we could potentially be looking at. These are veteran guys that you could see leave the Chicago Bulls by the trade deadline. Even players like Lonzo Ball, he's considered a veteran in my eyes, but he's kind of in that age gap where you could go either way. I think he's still young enough to be part of the young core, but I also think he's old enough to be listed as a veteran piece in a team that is trying to go younger. So it's hard to say, but ultimately it gives us a chance to double down. If we really want to focus on going younger, there's an opportunity there. Torrey Craig accepted his player option, which means we can trade him by the trade deadline. Jevon Carter, he's had he didn't have a good year with the Bulls. I don't know what I'm saying in that regard, but he's been with the Bulls for a year, and maybe it is an opportunity to let him go. Maybe there are certain teams that could better use what he could bring compared to what we could do with a guy like Jevon Carter. And considering all the guys that we have, we could very much see the veteran guard leave the Bulls in any given time. So it's a chance to double down, maybe trade for younger pieces, trade for potential draft picks. It gives us that opportunity. But I also want to talk about a different opportunity. Let's just say, look, I know this is unlikely, but you have to look at this option as well. Let's just say the Bulls outperform what is expected of them. Let's just say in a hypothetical situation, this Bulls team finds a way to scrap into the top 6 of the playoffs, or, you know, the standings, and whatever the case may be, and a chance to actually go and compete in the playoffs. Look, the top 10 pick, it may not be there if we do that, but if this Bulls team actually does surprise a lot of people and starts winning games and competing very well, this gives the Bulls a chance to pivot their direction. Now, the Bulls are not known for their pivot. They're not known for their quick decision making and quick changes. They are known for continuity. They are known for keeping things the same. They are known for making one trade in 2 years worth of action before, obviously, these deals with DeMar DeRozan and everybody else, Alex Caruso. Again, they are known for keeping things the same, but it does give them that chance to pivot. If this Bulls team is in that top 6, and they do very, very well. They're winning games. Everybody's happy. It could give the Bulls a chance to go for certain needs that we probably will need. Like maybe a rim protector, for example. Maybe we need a backup forward or a backup guard. Whatever the season has to offer us. Whatever's thrown in our direction. Whatever injuries we may have. It will give the Bulls a chance to pivot and actually go in a different direction. And that is a unique experience, to say the least. It's definitely the unlikely of the two. I still believe this Bulls team is going to be a playing team at best. And I think at worst, we could be one of the worst teams in the NBA. I truly believe that. But at the end of the day, if they do outperform, if they do outshine what is expected of them, if they somehow, some way, some form actually deliver wins consistently, and they look to be in a good position, the Bulls might want to take advantage of that and try to do something, not only in this playoffs, but for future playoff series to come. And that is a direction that we could go down. And if that is the case, I'm looking forward to that. And if the case is to go younger and to double down on your current status, then I'm all for that. Ultimately, but it just goes to show how big this trade deadline can be. And I also believe it also depends on what is thrown at us as a Bulls team this season. In an ideal situation, I think we just try to get this team sorted before the season begins. Trade LaVine if we can, trade Vucevic if we can, double down on what you're trying to do if we can, and then see what happens by the trade deadline, and maybe we could pivot if we need to. It doesn't look like that's going to happen for the Bulls. So I think the next best case scenario is to see what ends up happening, see how LaVine performs, see how Vucevic performs, see how the team performs with those two players, and see the morale of the team after or right before the trade deadline. Make your decisions there. If LaVine and Vucevic are actually happy and this Bulls team are winning games, maybe you don't want to get rid of them at that point in time. But if the trade opportunities do become available at that time, you may want to pull the trigger. It could be a funny situation and a unique situation for the Bulls, to say the least. But I do believe a lot is riding on this trade deadline. So whatever we decide to do, the best we can hope for is that the Bulls get it right. There's too many situations where we've got it wrong. They need to get this one right. And getting it right means actually doing something, by the way. Keeping it the same is not right in any stretch of the means. Whether we're trying to compete or we're not trying to compete, keeping it the same is the worst thing we can do in this upcoming trade deadline. So, make the moves. See if they're the right ones. Thank you guys for watching. Drop a like and a follow and or subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.